So yeah, this morning's webinar will be fairly short. So we'll give an overview of Concur Budget, discuss some of the capabilities. My colleague Anne-Marie will give you a live demo of what it looks like on the Concur platform. So Concur Budget is an optional add-on service to the Concur platform. So it covers spend management and travel, the core modules being Concur Expense, Concur Invoice, and Concur Travel. Budget sits over the top of that and empowers users to really see what's happening against their budget. So what we see is, different stakeholders in the business, have various responsibility for managing their expenditure, but they can't make decisions on things that they can't see. A CFO or a VP of finance will really want a high-level overview of where the company's position is at and where people might be spending or not spending in a budget period. If we look at, say, somebody like a financial controller, they're really wanting to make sure that everybody has access to the information they need to make those business decisions. Somebody like a sales manager is going to be really concerned around their T&E budget. That they want to make sure that they're spending that really wisely, and they're wanting to make sure that they have budget available to take advantage of any opportunities that come up. And finally, any kind of budget owner, is really responsible for their performance, and being able to track performance against budget as people are progressing through the month or the quarter is really important to be able to make those business decisions about what they're spending money on, what they shouldn't spend money on, and not to get to the end of the period and find out that you've potentially blown your budget, or even worse, you've underspent it and perhaps foregone opportunities to enhance your business because you just didn't know where you were sitting. Concur Budget sits across the Concur Spend Management platform, so you can see where people have expensed particular items, where there might be invoices paid. But what you can also see is where there are purchase requests in the system. So clients using request, or whether they're even card expenses that haven't actually been acquitted yet. These are all visible in the Concur platform and can be compared against the budget. So you've got a much better picture of not only what people have actually, I guess, finalized and acquitted and where you're tracking against what you thought you'd be, but you've also got a little bit of visibility about what's coming up. And if somebody then needs to also put in a purchase request or a travel and expense request, again, the budget owner has got the visibility in the tool, so whether it's on the desktop or in their mobile, to compare against the budget when somebody's asking to spend money, and then they can decide, does this make sense? Can we cover this? If we look at another benefit, control. So again, visibility, control over your budget. So you're not going to get to the end of the month and find out that everybody's stayed back late and submitted all their expense reports or paid all the due invoices and find out that you've blown your budget. You've got visibility in the month, in the period, to everything that's not only being processed, but everything that's in the system waiting to be processed. So it's a really great tool. Flexibility, again, you can control who sees what. So a particular budget owner might have view of their budget. Somebody higher up the tree may very well have a view of the whole company. The Concur Budget tool has been really designed to be flexible. It allows people to not only see their budgets, but also share across as well. So you may have visibility over a colleague's budget and go, okay, hey, my T&E is pretty high this month, but I see you're way under budget. Can I borrow some of your budget and get this opportunity across the line? So very flexible, very intuitive, and as you'll see when Anne-Marie demonstrates, it's pretty simple. But the power of the information that's in the hands of those budget owners and decision makers is really where the tool adds value. At this point, I'll hand over to Anne-Marie and get her to show you what budget looks like.
What we're looking at here is actually the budget overview. It is basically a high-level view across all the spend currently within my Concur profile. So as an end user, I have instant access to a high level view of where my budgets are up to. So I can see we're using a traffic light system here to basically tell me the status of my individual budgets. So I can see in marketing, travel, hotels and meals and training budget, which are actually my own budgets. So marketing is green. I have remaining funds for this month. I have a pretty healthy marketing budget right now. I have some pending outstanding transactions that need to be fully processed, so I can actually drill down and see those if I need to. The second tile is my travel budget. That's actually orange, so I am quite a way into my travel budget for the month. I do have remaining funds, even if my pending transactions are now processed. I will still have remaining funds, but I'm creeping up to the top end of my budget. Hotels and meals is where the problem is. I've on the verge of overspending my hotels and meals. So when those pending transactions for 5,841 are actually processed, it will actually tip me over my estimated target budget amount for this month. And again, my training budget is healthy, and I don't have any concerns around that. So it's a traffic light system. When I log in straight into my budget overview, I can instantly see where my spend is up to. And the great thing about the Concur Budget module is that it actually is integrated with the various spend platform modules, as in it's synced with Concur Invoice, Expense, and the Request module. So where there has been spend created or incurred, it's fully visible to me. And where I have access to my own budgets, I can also be a viewer on my colleagues' budgets. So if we look to the second part of the screen, the bottom part of the screen, you'll see my shared budgets. So I have a vested interest in budgets for Claire and Bob. If we could just take it back a screen. Sorry, so yeah. So the bottom part of the screen is just giving me a high-level view of where Claire and Bob's budgets are up to. I can drill down in those and see the transactions and see where that spend has gone to. So I don't necessarily need to be a budget owner myself. I can have access to individual budgets within the business where others are actually managing those budgets. That's great on that slide. Stephen, if we could just go to the next one. Thank you. So we can build alerts around budget within the Concur platform. In this instance, this is an actual approver's view for a purchase request. So we've got Claire who's creating a purchase request for a new phone. It's not a huge amount, but from an approver's point of view, I now have the capability to drill back down to the budget in question and actually have a look at where my spend is up to. So that little icon where we see view budget, that's a hyperlink back to the relevant budget in the background. So as an approver, it just means that I have visibility across where my spend is up to at this point in the month. It may be a case that it's a large purchase request that's coming through that's actually going to tip me over my budget. So I can make an informed decision now as a budget owner as to how I want to proceed. So if necessary, I can actually send this request back to Claire with a message to say, maybe we hold off on this purchase until next month when we've got more available funds. So it just means as an approver, I'm making fully informed decisions. It's not estimates that I think I've got a couple of hundred left, I think I've got a couple of thousand left. I can actually go in and see exactly what's available, what's pending, and where this particular purchase request is going to leave me up to. Might just take it over to the mobile view now. So if you wanted to hand over to myself, Stephen. Okay, so this is the Concur mobile app. It's pretty much looks the same as usual, apart from the fact I have a new budget icon as part of my options on the mobile. So from a mobility point of view, this is really great because what I can see on the desktop, I can also see on the mobile application. So I'm just going to drill down into have a look at what actually I have on my mobile. So in this instance, I've got my own budget, which is a cost center budget, and I've got a shared budget. So I'm a viewer on a colleague's budget for travel and events. So my own budget is green. It's healthy. I don't really have any concerns around it. I can see where my previous monthly projected spend was up to. I can see my current spent amount and my top spend categories down here. If I just go back and have a look at my my travel and events budget, my colleagues' travel and events budget that I have an interest in. That's creeping up. It's quite a large budget. It's creeping up. I know how much I've got remaining. I know how much I've got pending. I'm just going to drill down and have a little bit more of a look into where that actual spend is going to. So if I look at my top spend, I can see my office supplies, the accommodation, that's what's making up my payment requests. If I look at my expense claims, I can also see where that spend is coming from and where the high value items are sitting. So we've got a couple of airfares, some quite cheap looking accommodation by the looks of it, and some business meals with attendees. So everything that I can see, slightly different view, but fully accessible on the mobile. And it just means that I don't need to, as a manager, as an approver, I can look at this before I go in and do any of my approvals. I can see exactly where my budget is up to for the month, and I can then make informed decisions about how I want to proceed with my approvals. It's fully visible on the mobile. I don't have to be in the office even. I could be in a taxi on my way home and do my approvals and make informed decisions about those approvals. So yeah, that's it from a mobile demo perspective. Really easy, really simple, so intuitive from an end user point of view, and just full visibility. So that's a great tool. Back to you, Stephen.
Excellent. So yeah, just I guess to recap, the Concur Budget solution, some of the real key benefits or features of it, the visibility. So again, as you've seen, you've got visibility over not only what's happened, what's been finalized, but what's in the system, what's waiting to be processed and approved, and when somebody's requesting to spend some money, you've also got visibility over what you have left in your budget, so you can make some really informed decisions around how the company's money is being spent, which obviously leads to much better control over your budgets and over your spending. As you've seen, it's available on desktop, it's available on mobile, it's very configurable, so people can see what they need to see, and they don't need to be bogged down in a whole bunch of detail in terms of other people's budgets that they may not need to see. So again, it's connected to the Concur platform, sits right across the whole platform. So any invoice spend, any travel and expense, any normal expenses, ongoing expenses are all visible. Being in the cloud and being on the Concur platform, it's available 24/7. So as Anne-Marie mentioned, if you're sitting in a cab on the way home after a function and you open up your app or open up your emails, you can see, which I guess leads to the ability to take action. So if we have a look at that example where there was some pretty incredible spend on office supplies going on in one of those budgets, you could actually have a look at it and go, okay, well, my budgets are getting close to being full. You can make some decisions around where you want to be spending money and perhaps, diverting or holding off on spend to other periods until things have cleared up. Similarly, I suppose if your revenues are a little bit down in month, and you can look at your budgets, you can look at what spend is in the system, what requests are there. Very easy to make those decisions about managing your business without having to pull up a bunch of spreadsheets and do a lot of analysis, which I guess leads to peace of mind for budget owners and confidence.